Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
A curious individual from Italy set out to find proof of the paranormal, and so they found themselves performing a seance using the Ouija board in their home. And soon after, they got the proof they were searching for when strange things started to happen inside their home. A few days later, he hears a sudden sound while home alone, so he gets his phone out to record.
Chi c'è? Chi è? Chi fa casino? Chi è che si sentiva? Chi c'è?
A loud sudden bang can be heard right behind him, and a few days later his wife is home alone when she hears some noises around the house and captures this.
Chi c'è? La luce. Chi è stato? Chi ha bussato? Non sono pazza. Non sono pazza. C'è qualcuno? Chi c'è? Dove sei? Fatti vedere. Dove sei? No, dove? Da dove? La cucina, la cucina, la cucina. Cazzo. Cazzo. Qui sto sfuggendo di mano.
Glass can be heard shattering all over the floor right as she arrives in the kitchen, but as she looks around, there's no one there. This has only just started, so it's bound to get worse as they continue using the Ouija board.
This could have easily been faked, but if there's real paranormal activity going on here, then they absolutely brought it on themselves. That's a beautiful house that they've ruined by playing around with the Ouija board inside of it. The only thing that makes me think that this could be real is that the husband and wife seem to both be experiencing similar occurrences, but they're likely just in it together trying to get some internet attention.
For some mysterious reason, in the past few months, there's been loads of videos popping up all over social media of people buying what looks like fake food. It all started just a couple of weeks ago in the United States, when several people started noticing that there was something off about the watermelon that they were buying on the supermarkets.
So I got this watermelon at Walmart, and I like to rinse my watermelon before I cut it, and it's like kidding. Does anybody have problems with their watermelon like this?
Oh my gosh.
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It sounds like a girl is dying.
There are dozens of videos where people buy watermelon from the supermarket and it looks strange. Sometimes it looks like plastic, sometimes it makes these weird noises, and sometimes, or many, many times actually, it feels as if it's made out of rubber.
So I cut watermelon for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. And
I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon. The texture is so weird. Like, you gotta bend it so far before it will break.
But it wasn't just rubbery. There was something else about the watermelon that was bothering a lot of people.
Y'all will not believe what I got. Yeah? This is what I have for a melon. The melon shell is strong. Look at that. This is what I got for a melon, you guys. Look at that.
It was pretty obvious that there was something off about the watermelon, and a lot of people were noticing it. But here's the thing. It wasn't just the watermelons. People were also noticing the same thing happening with avocados, blueberries, bananas, and the list goes on.
That's it. And she breaks it in half. It gets very tough and doesn't really break. And when it pulls, it's like it's glue. It's very tight and doughy.
After these videos were posted and became a viral sensation, it made a lot of people ask the same question. Are we possibly eating fake food? What's your take?
All right, I'm not making a claim here, and I don't want to come across like I have all this figured out, because I do not, but I'll tell you what is immediately brought to my mind when I see this stuff is all the talk about putting vaccines in the food supply. If they're putting vaccines in the food like they talked about doing, then we might be seeing the side effects of how that food reacts to the chemicals put in them that are meant to go into our body. This makes me trust our food supply even less.
When this stone fell over in 1900, in fact January 1900, it fell with such a force that it cracked the lintel in two. And if you look very closely, you can see the concrete repair that they used to rebuild it when the stone was re-erected back in 1958. Now, the repairs to Stonehenge were quite extensive at that time, but almost all of them were from this aspect here and the visitor's path. Now, even the visitor's path at Stonehenge has got a really interesting bit of history, because this used to be a main road. And when I say main road, it's really before the car was invented. It was a footpath, a bridleway, if you like, that led you directly to Salisbury in that direction, the biggest and nearest town. Although you did have Amesbury off in that direction, and obviously there's a footpath coming from there too. Oh, it's a lovely day, and I hope you have a lovely day too. Bye.
So I just learned in yesterday's video of the claim that the site at Stonehenge had been repaired multiple times. Then this morning a Discord user posted this and the next video that shows definitive proof that they've been repaired before.
Some of the stones at Stonehenge have had to be re-erected. In 1901 this stone was straightened, but these three huge great stones fell over in 1797. And they laid on the ground for many, many years, weren't re-erected until the late 50s. And if I go over here, you can see that they were so worried about the re-erection of these new stones, and particularly this stone delaminating. You can see that crack on there. They actually bolted it back together. So if I zoom in here, you can see a little circular core that they drilled out through the centre of the stone. There's several of them, in fact. And that had an iron bar placed in it. There's another one up there. Threaded iron rod that held the stone back together. Cool there.
So it is official. The proof is right there. Stonehenge, though they say they don't know how it was constructed, has been reconstructed more than once in the modern day. Everything is a lie or an intentional misdirection. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back to join me on Monday.
Oh, these people. All right. First, you'll see it there. And I put arrows so you can see. You can clearly make out that it's a fly.
kind of flies around, gets blurred, and then it's in the shot and it's walking, and I think it's on the outside of the glass. Even if it was on the inside of the glass, it couldn't fly around in the space station properly.
This has to be frustrating for NASA. This is probably the 5th or so video that I've seen where they were exposed to faking space because of a pesky little fly being caught on camera. It looks like they need to invest some of those public funds that they've been funneling into a fly swatter or some fly paper or something.
Did you hear what Elon Musk said on the Full Send podcast a few months ago? They start talking about cataclysms and ice ages. He says,
"There's deep rabbit hole on ice ages. Deep rabbit hole."
He knows. Look at these topics that we're into: cataclysms, lost ancient technology.
Magnetic poles.
That's the one thing.
There was probably something significant that happened in the last ice age, because we don't see any evidence of writing, and that was about 10,000 years.
This is mainstream science. The poles do flip. These happens in cycles of 6,500 years. It's a planet flip 90 degree. The Earth essentially does a standstill. The sun will stay in the same spot, causing heating we've never experienced. And here's the wild thing, is that a continental-sized tsunami being 2 miles high. Well, I showed you the Emikusi volcano in Africa in the Sahara, which is at 11,300 feet, that has salt as well as evidence of gastropods, sea life.
That's 2 miles high.
Yes.
I really hope that this guy is wrong. I really, really hope this guy is wrong. I think this is probably the most terrifying theory that I've heard yet. Mainly because the signs show that the pole shift has already begun. And the idea of the Earth just standing still and the entire atmosphere just blowing away doesn't sound like something that you can prepare for by making sure you've got enough beans and rice stocked up in your root cellar.
Right here, another classic vanilla sky. The sky was obviously cut out. You can see the remnants of the mask right here. If I zoom out, right, if you didn't notice, you can see people's legs right here. They cut out the people on the top.
Yeah.
Like you can see there, look, there's some feet right there. This guy's head is like half cut off. All those people are gone. Now, what was the point of that? If there was, maybe there was something in the sky they might have wanted to cut out.
What if they were carrying something on top of that as well?
So this is where it goes into the whole theory of the old world known as Tartaria. This is where people are saying, hey, we were pretty advanced not too long ago. And it's been long enough now where the generations have been brainwashed with the education system where they can go back and manipulate these photos and cut out certain things. Now that's just one theory. This is obviously the original sky right here, which was captured by the negative. This is also presented as a negative. The thing is that even if they're not hiding anything crazy, these photos should still be shown as manipulated photos, not glass plate negatives presented as original photos. Because now when we look back and we try teaching history, now we're teaching, what the f are we even teaching anyone? Because all these photos are basically fake, you know?
The vanilla sky mystery deepens. I've never seen examples like this where they're trying to hide something so much that they're cutting people's entire upper bodies out of the photos. It looks suspicious when they do this to a building, but to cut off a person to hide the sky, that can't be a mistake. There was something in that photo that they didn't want people to see.
More evidence that the Bible was right. Check this out.
We have proof that the Red Sea crossing happened. Like proof, not just artifacts on the bottom. We had those. We had chariot wheels on the bottom of the Red Sea. We had all these cool little artifacts. But the coolest thing that I saw is the shoreline. If you've ever watched the Ten Commandments movie, they had that big pillar of fire that came down. That's mentioned in the Bible. This pillar of fire, I just pictured these flames coming down. But when you go to that shoreline where it's documented to happen, the entire shoreline is melted sand. And it takes about 3,000 degrees or more to melt that sand. And it's evenly melted. You can almost see like footprints. There's stones infused in this melted sand. This is amazing. You don't hear about it. If it was a proof of evolution, it would be in every single textbook.
Boy, I sure feel bad for the guy that left those footprints behind. I bet that was hot. I just thought this was fascinating, and I had never heard of this before. That's amazing the way that lines up with the story in the Bible. I wouldn't say that this necessarily proves anything, but it sure adds to the credibility and makes it much more likely that there is at least some truth to that story. Just trying to go where the truth sends me.
I have been told by a man who worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency for 23 years that the National Science Foundation of the United States has scientists that are meeting and collaborating with extraterrestrials in Antarctica in this deep underground installation, something that one of the military people said to me. The walls had hieroglyphs, but the walls did not join with the ceiling. He said, we can only conclude that we are dealing with technology that is neutralizing gravity. Advanced beings could deliberately have isolated Antarctica under deep ice and snow like a partition from the rest of the world as a terraforming strategy to cohabit on Earth while ensuring that the alien base at the South Pole would be hidden.
I think this is the best guess as to what's actually going on. I think that this makes complete sense and would explain so many different questions we all have, like why are we not allowed to explore Antarctica? If you're an advanced race on a planet that was also inhabited by an inferior species and you wanted to separate yourself for protection or whatever other reason, then setting up camp in a location that would be treacherous to that inferior species would make perfect sense. I think this is the path we need to start exploring.
This Bible prophecy is being fulfilled in Israel right now, and nobody is talking about it. See, the Bible says in Ezekiel and Zechariah that in the last days, fresh water will literally begin to flow into the Dead Sea.
All right, guys, we are standing in the Dead Sea right now. But the really cool part about where I'm standing is that as I pan here, you're going to see I'm standing actually in fresh water that's flowing down out of the Judean mountains into the Dead Sea. So we're literally standing in prophecy being fulfilled.
Subscribe right now if you believe that we're in the last days.
The end time signs are all around us. I'm not a religious man, but you would have to be pretty dense to just write off all of these signs as just coincidence. First, the Euphrates River starts drying up. Then the red heifer prophecy looks like it's going to be fulfilled. Now there's fresh water flowing into the Dead Sea. Looks like the last day may be right around the corner with as many of the prophecies as we have coming true.
There are people living inside of the Earth. It's true. New information from NASA states that there is a large ocean beneath the Earth's crust, after scientists detected movement below the surface. Around 500 miles below, a large supply of water has been found stored in a rock named ringwoodite. But it gets even crazier. Scientists say that this rock is so huge that it contains 3 times the amount of water on the Earth's surface. This causes many to believe that there is more down there than we originally thought. Possibly even civilizations. While the news of this discovery was over 10 years ago, it was never talked about. Is the government hiding this information from us? What do you think?
I think this is potentially connected to the hidden advanced race that may be hiding out in Antarctica. I think it would only make sense that they're living underground with as many reports as we've gotten about UFOs flying out from under waterfalls and coming up out of the ocean and stuff. The only thing that doesn't make sense is why NASA would announce this discovery if they're in active communication with this advanced race who is using the area to hide from us.
DARPA has the Avatar Project. And the Avatar Project, they have actual field robots, and where a soldier is in a bunker somewhere maybe even 1,000 miles away, has a symbiotic consciousness link to the robot to control it. The robot has AI plus its own link, so it can make decisions and you can control it still. If the robot blows up, the soldier doesn't die. The symbiotic link is disconnected. They have the craziest tech.
Yeah.
That you can only. They have something in space on a satellite called the Rods from God.
The Rods from God?
The Rods from God. This is a satellite that I know of that exists. This satellite has 20-foot tungsten steel rods on it. These tungsten steel rods have no warhead, but when it's positioned over any country or any city, it can be released to within a millimeter of the point of impact, and it'll decimate that entire region using kinetic energy.
Steven, you gotta find this.
With no fallout.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you all think about this Avatar project? I've heard Billy Carson mention this several times, but I'm not convinced that they have the technology to do this. I think this is one of those scenarios where the military is putting out false information to make it sound like they have more advanced tech than the other guy, but I could be wrong. I know they have at least 20 years more advanced technology than what the public has, but this seems a bit far-fetched to me.
Before Earth even existed, you had Mercury, Venus, which was in the position we're in now, and then you had Tiamat. Earth wasn't here yet. Tiamat had 2 moons. It probably had more than that, but the 2 we know of is the moon we have now and Mars. Mars can be backtracked. Even modern mainstream astrophysicists agree that Mars was probably a moonlet that orbited a much larger planet based on the weird elliptical orbit that it has. Yeah. So what happened was you have our moon and you have Mars, a habitable moon, orbiting Tiamat. Tiamat in the Enuma Elish, the 7 tablets of creation, literally gets impacted by another object that was orbiting another star. So our solar system had gravitationally attracted a rogue solar system, so to speak. And it was a collision that happened which made Tiamat explode. When Tiamat exploded, now here's something interesting before I go that far. In the text, it says that Tiamat's glory rivaled the sun. The water-bearing planet with land and life.
I think this is an interesting theory and would make a ton of sense if it were true. I don't know if it's true, and I'm not even going to pose a guess because how would you ever know? I just think it's interesting and kind of makes the science of what they're now saying about the atmosphere on Mars make a lot more sense. It's insane to think that there may have been a time when the Earth wasn't here, but in its place was a bigger, more beautiful Earth with more moons, and the Mars moon, being in the Goldilocks zone, could have been inhabited and lush with life at the same time as Tiamat. So 2 planets as close as our moon, but both with life. That's fascinating that could have been a reality in the past.
Okay, so this is a little PSA for you ladies out there. If you see anything on the ground like this that's really too good to be true, this money, don't touch it, don't grab it. As you can see here, there's a substance that's around this bill. So what I want to do is I want to open up this bill. I don't want to touch it with my hands, so I'm going to use my foot to open this up. So you can be in a public place, even like I'm here with my fiance at Walmart, and she saw this bill, and I told her immediately, don't touch it. And I'm going to see if I can open this up for you. So try to get it open. Oh, you see, there's more stuff that just came out of it here. Let me zoom in. So if I open this up, oh, you can see. You see all that stuff inside this bill? So whoever put this here obviously thought that my girlfriend's by herself, and luckily I was here, but they target people that are by themselves, and they try and drug you and using things like the bills to trap you. So be careful out there and don't pick up things off the ground.
All right, I'm not going to lie. While this is likely really good advice, and that's why I put this in here, this looks like the guy put laundry detergent on a 20 and started recording his TikTok video. This could be faked with good intentions, but I'm 100% convinced this video is faked.
For the first time in history, an interstellar object has officially been spotted in our solar system, and there's a Harvard professor who absolutely insists it was an advanced alien spacecraft, which in this day and age is nothing new. We see UAPs on the news and social media left and right, but this one, called Oumuamua, has all the features of potentially being the ultimate mothership. Bit of old news, it visited our solar system back in 2017, making its closest approach to our sun on September 9th of that year, but it's what it did right after that had scientists around the world baffled. It's shaped like a cigar, a very common shape among all those confirmed UAP sightings we've been seeing everywhere. I actually found this app called Enigma that lets you browse and share user-submitted UFO sightings and even get notified if there are any in your area. It's basically a real-time alert network for UFOs, and I've been loving scrolling through their feed and even using their AR identify lens to spot live planes, satellites, and who knows what else in our sky. Trust me, download Enigma Labs for the type of vids you won't find anywhere else. Maybe we'll come across our own Oumuamua, except this one was much bigger than anything we've ever seen before. Roughly translated from Native Hawaiian to scout or messenger from the past, Oumuamua is estimated to be anywhere from 400 to 1,000 meters in length and is on record officially claimed to be an asteroid and nothing else. Despite it having no characteristics of a real asteroid, because, you know, there's this thing called gravity that tends to squeeze objects together into spherical shapes, not a cigar. On top of that, UFO sightings on Earth are very commonly cigar-shaped. We'd imagine any interstellar object in that shape to be part of the same family. What really caught astronomers off guard is when they observed Oumuamua, its trajectory did not support classical Newtonian physics, and it actually sped up by itself, which they confirm was not as a result of the sun's gravity. Yes, it accelerated on its own. It even continued to get faster after passing our sun and flying through the rest of our solar system. The counterclaims to this acceleration are that it received a push from the pressure of our sun's radiation, or that it may have warmed up as it got close to the sun, released frozen gases inside, which propelled it forward. Except no trail of gas was observed and would have likely caused an erratic, irregular orbit instead of the smooth path we see it follow, meaning that something we're not aware of was affecting its motion, such as a propulsion system. In June 2018, highly esteemed Nature Science journal published their analysis, noting an unexplained change in speed from 57,000 miles per hour as it entered to 97,000 as it left our solar system, a 70% increase. Then in November 2018, chairman of Harvard's astronomy department, Professor Avi Loeb, wrote a paper about this peculiar acceleration. In the paper, he states that the object may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth's vicinity by an alien civilization. Maybe. Maybe not. It's currently on its way out of our solar system, too far away to see anymore. But you can always be up to date with the latest UAPs entering our orbit with Enigma Labs. Highly recommend. In January 2022, researchers proposed Project Lyra, where we'd launch a spacecraft to Oumuamua for closer study. But it would take 26 years to catch up to it. Would they even tell us the truth if it actually was an alien mothership?
Of course they wouldn't tell us if they found out what it really was. And I've never heard of a floating rock in space increasing its speed by 71% in order to pull itself out of the orbit of the sun either. That doesn't sound like no rock to me. But the main reason that I put this in here was that app that he's talking about. I downloaded this app and it's every bit as fun as I hoped it would be. I found 542 enigmas in my immediate area, and there's a notification setting you can turn on to be notified when someone has a new UFO sighting in your area. You can get on the app and see photos and videos and read stories of what people in your neighborhood have spotted in your skies. It's very fascinating, and I just had to share it with you all.
Prove rappers get paid to push agendas.
Pay attention. They actually pay us more when we rap about more ignorant stuff, so I make sure I even the line and come talk on stages like this. Man, I was flooded with millions of dollars from the time I was 16. And I woke up one morning and I was like, they got me. Man, look at I spoke about, look at the putting these people ears. Man, I feel very wrong about a lot of things. How many lives I actually am responsible for when it comes to my music? How many
These rappers know what they're doing, but they might realize it when it's a little too late.
I've been having these weird feelings lately, and that's kind of why I didn't want to do this song shaking or like any true songs, because it's like these songs are activating like these demons that I killed. I don't want to be that girl anymore. Like, I just want to be a mother. You know what I'm saying?
Let me know what you think in the comments and stay weird.
This is just confirmation of what we all knew already. They get paid the big money to sow division and keep us all at each other's throats. The question is, why does the music industry want us divided? What interest do they have in keeping us all against each other? It's all a part of the greater conspiracy to keep the people under control so they're easy to rule over. So this just makes me wonder, how entrenched is the federal government in the music industry? Because they're the ones who would benefit from this, so they must be the ones behind it. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back on Monday with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat. I greatly appreciate everyone who's ordered anything off of there so far. Also, don't forget to post your photos over in the merch section of the Discord channel. That way I can put your photos in a video here on the channel. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.